Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very special day. In front of you, you see all the pieces, sorta. Few missing here and there, but pretty much all the pieces I've collected to build a 3D printer. You got power MOSFETs, Bowden tubes, heat sensors, stepper motors, gears, pulleys, extruders, pretty much everything you would need to build a 3D printer. In fact, I think only some hardware is missing, and we have a fully functioning 3D printer in Potentia. Got the rails, got the hotbed, but none of this is going to be in today's video because today's video is a special one. Today's video starts with an eBay discount for 20% off the entire site. This was a couple days ago. It was the Father's Day promotion, so that means that all of this, although relevant to this story, isn't part of it. Let me show you what is, though. Today's video is about this. This here is a 3D printer kit. Now, I know I'm supposed to build my own custom 3D printer, and that's still the plan. But it's just that now I think instead of making the accessories and such out of wood, we're going to 3D print them out of this 3D printer. What's this 3D printer? Well, this is nothing special. I'm going to put a little image down here somewhere, and you'll see it's just a full aluminum frame 3D printer. It's more of a Creality CR10 than it is a ANET A8. Also has some similarities with the TiVo Tarantula, and this came in today. So the 20% off, coupled with a really good price, coupled with the fact that I only waited 2 days for shipping to Canada, is why I bought this thing. So this was $260 Canadian, which is really cheap by any standard, but extremely cheap if you think of how low the Canadian dollar is. And then 20% off of that, I ended up paying around $210 for this entire 3D printer. Now that means that I'll have a fully working 3D printer, which I can put together within a week on my busy schedule, and I can get started showing beginners what they could buy and build themselves. So today, this video, you guys are zoomed out as far as I could possibly zoom you out, but this box is huge. It's about 1.5 feet long by 1.25 feet wide and maybe 3/4 foot tall. I have no idea what to expect. The seller did not sponsor me for this. eBay didn't sponsor me for this. Nothing sponsored. This is my own money. I just feel like $200 Canadian is a fantastic price point. And as you guys saw, I have a full bin of spare parts. So if we need to fix this, we can. Other than that, I still do have my other resources, like I know how to build stuff and whatever. So let's get a first look. Let's see what's inside this box. And you guys will be seeing it for the first time, and I'll be seeing it for the first time with you. So let me just set up a little bit and let's get started. So here we go. I may have to pan you guys left and right to see what's going on here, but I'm just going to gently cut into this. I don't know how well this is packed. This is not like a brand name I recognize. I think they're just using the, I think it's Tronxy. I don't know. I don't have the listing in front of me here, but we will see. I can't trust the fact that this is a brand name printer. The price is just telling me that it's probably just some sort of clone of a clone of a clone. But again, at this price, if I get something functional, that's all I really care about, even if I have to tweak it a bit. So I'm going to open this. Yeah, this is like too big for my bench. Okay, let's see. Just white swamping the camera, no worries. See what we got here. Okay, well, let's start up here. So here we have let me just make sure you're in focus there. I think so. So here we have a IEC cable. So it looks like it's going to be at least a plug-in power supply, which is good. But it has, I don't remember if this is the Europe spec. Yeah, I think this is the Euro spec. The UK has the big blades. And it has a depth adapter TM. So not too happy about that, but if the power supply does indeed work on 110 volts like they say it should, then I'm going to throw this away, and I'm going to use a regular North American IEC cable. And plus, I don't know if these are actually rated. They have the proper rating on them, so I'll be fine with the North American cable. So that's that. Some sort of piece of pipe. Oh, another thing that made me want this kit is that it should be auto leveling. So we'll see. So it's just a tiny piece of PVC pipe, it looks like. Okay, we've got a flat screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver. Not bad, I've seen worse. That's good. A couple of Allen keys. These things are terrible. I do have some Allen keys or Allen drives with handles, and a little wrench. Okay, not too bad. Move on to the other corner here. And what do we have here? So this looks like the hardware kit. This weighs a lot. I see these plastic spacers. They're very likely for the wheels. This is a pulley type machine. It's full aluminum, which is great. Put that to the side. I'm going to try not to cause an avalanche here. Okay, here is the interface block for the power supply. So as you can see, this is a switch. It should have a fuse. I'm going to check the fuse. Has pre-crimped cables. Have to check the crimps, make sure it's all good. Very nice though. This means that when you flip this on, you won't be exposed to mains wiring. You won't be exposed to like the 110 volts, which is great because if something went wrong, you don't want to get shocked. These could be a little tighter. We can put a dab of hot glue on there, but we'll see what we can do. And over here, looks like there's a belt, which I think there is GT2 belt for the, I think it's Y, when the table goes back and forth. I think that's controlled by belt. The rest are lead screws. Actually, I believe the X might be a belt as well. And I can see some cable sleeving in there. And some cable ties, cable clamps. Okay, not too bad. Move over to here. Alright, so this looks like a little bit of filament to get started. I've never actually handled 3D printer filament. I have some coming from Amazon because I knew I had just bought this. So yeah, it looks like you got a little bit of filament there. Won't be enough to do very much. I do have some black filament coming. I think this is PLA. I'm not sure though. We'll have to figure it out by the melting temperature, but it'll be enough to waste I guess, while we're trying to get this figured out. Then we have a USB card reader with a micro USB. Yeah. So 8 gigabytes. Typically these kits, the instructions come onto the SD card. Oh, this thing is all worn out. It's all like they scratched off the branding there. Interesting. Like I said, this is the cheapest of the cheap, or one of the cheapest of the cheap. And this is free shipping, by the way, so it's $210 free shipping. Moving on now, we have, oh, hello. There's a lot of acrylic parts. I thought this was full aluminum. Okay, well anyways, we have the hotbed with the wires already soldered on, which is nice, but I think I would want to reinforce this with some glue or something. And the soldering is not great. It's really not good, so I may have to touch that up, although this may be hard to touch up because it is a aluminum heat bed, and this is actually thick. It's very interesting. The PCB based one didn't look that isn't this thick. And then underneath, oh, okay, that's the temperature probe. So I have a temperature probe dead in the middle. Okay, the wiring is PVC, it's not silicone, so yeah, I'd really want something to kind of brace this to make sure it's holding strong. We've got a plug here for these two in the middle, not sure what they do, and you've got positive, negative. Interesting. That weighs quite a bit actually. I'm surprised how heavy that is. I'm gonna be piling up stuff beside me. I hope it doesn't fall. So this is like painter's tape, and I think this is just a tacky surface to help the prints adhere to the hotbed. And there's the Tronxy XY stuff. I'm not sure. I think this is just for the housing. Like these two would be probably for the reel, and the rest of this maybe for the housing where the electronics go, because the kit is supposed to be all aluminum. Like the frame is supposed to be all aluminum. So we've got pieces here, a couple more pieces. Yeah, I think that's just to house the electronics. Yeah, some cooling. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be really careful with this, but I don't think you guys need to see this too much. It's just really nice laser cut acrylic. Pretty thick actually. And I'm gonna lift this out. So I'm guessing that's the bottom, the big piece is the top. I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, and next, move you guys over here. This is a box. Now this feels just like a power supply, and that's what it is. So what do we have here? So we can move this switch from 110 to 220. I should do this now before I forget. So 110 volts, we are in Canada here, 110 volts. 12 volts, 20 amps. So 20 amps, that means 12 times 2. That's 24 with the 240 watt power supply. I really hope this is enough. If I have to, I'll just turn off the hotbed, but I'm hoping 240 watts is enough. But that's nice that this here will all be in an enclosure by itself. Won't have to worry about this exposing me to high voltage, which is nice. And there's also a voltage adjustment here, so I can tune it in to be accurate. These power supplies are fairly inexpensive. If I need to replace it, I can also use a computer power supply. Quite a beefy one, mind you, but I can use one if I'm afraid of the safety of this one. I'm going to lift up the next sleeve here. And there we go. Lots of stuff to see. So here's a bunch of brackets and carriages. I think some of these are to strengthen up the frame, which is nice. A bunch of L brackets. There's like a T bracket. Looks really nice. Okay. All laser cut acrylic. Pretty thick acrylic too. There is, the reason I picked this kit too is that the whole frame is this 2020 extrusion, because I know that the likes of the ANET A8 and such, they have issues with the frame not being stiff enough. So here we have our 2 lead screws. This is for the Z-axis. Very nice. We have our 2020 extrusions. So 2, 3, 4. Look pretty nice. There's the finish is wearing off already, and there's a bunch of like filing still in there. So it's not really like a finessed kit. It's obviously built down to a price. That's okay. So there's another and another. A whole bunch of these things. This. Oh, and these two are the longest pieces, and they go all the way to the wall. There we go. So a bunch of 2020 extrusion. So I'm going to keep this one, in shot, because over here we have the business end. This will be the hot end with a Bowden tube, and it looks like it's different from the E3D one. I have an E3D one, and there is the self-leveling sensor. It's already installed too, because I know these things can be finicky. They have to be adjusted properly. We are going to check the adjustment to make sure. Has a cooling fan, but no parts cooling fan actually, so that might be our first upgrade that we're going to have to print, parts cooling fan. And now this, it should fit perfectly on here without much play. Ooh, that's actually, that is a satisfying fit. There is absolutely no play. I'm impressed. So this will be the heating element and the temperature sensor. There's the cooling fan, Bowden tube. This is where the filament goes into the actual hot end. This is the hot end, and there's the cooler around it. This fits really nicely. I really like that. Good. Running out of space to put stuff here. All right. Almost done. Oh, here we go. That's the front plate with the LCD. Very nice. Little tactile buttons. Still that thick acrylic. Very nice. They didn't really cheap out on the acrylic, which is good. Although acrylic itself is cheaping out. We have these motors. Oh, they already have the gears on them. So we have 5 stepper motors here. Now, I haven't checked prices recently, but when I was pricing these out at first, these things, they were close to 20 bucks each. And then when I finally bought them, they were just over $12 each. Tronxy branded. Very nice. So this one has the collet to attach to the lead screw. The other ones have gears. This is another one with a collet. So this is the dual lead screw. So that'll be the Z-axis. I like that they put them all together. And this one is a toothed gear instead of the GT2 style. So I'm guessing that is for the extruder. That's already installed. Nice, I'll take these away. Okay. There's our main board. So this is the only thing I fear, is that the main board will be garbage and will be problematic, but I do have the external MOSFETs, so I'm pretty sure I will do a video on how the external MOSFETs work and probably install the external MOSFETs right away. But see, end stops, temperature. This is probably going to be, so 12 volts main power here. I don't know, they don't look very beefy. This is for the hotbed and the hot end. They don't look very strong. I'm not sure about the current rating on these. I may install it as is and then monitor, but we will see. I don't trust these little screw terminals with the tiny little connections. They don't seem very heat tolerant. But I suppose if we have major issues, the ramps board is a very inexpensive replacement, which I already have, so that's good. Okay, here's a couple brackets for the stepper motors. We've already got these. There's 4 of these. A couple brackets for the 2020 extrusions, so all the accessory kit. Very nice. So 90 degrees outside and inside. A bunch of these Delrin type pulleys. If you bought these by themselves, they'd be really expensive. That's why I got the hard plastic white ones instead of these Delrin ones. That would be the extruder. So this looks different than the type I have. Looks a little bit higher quality, which is nice. Got a couple idler assemblies already kind of set up there, but there's a pulley in the middle, 2 big washers, a couple 90-degree brackets. Maybe they fell out of the bag, but although the bag was sealed. Okay. We've got end stops. two of them. These little micro switches. Again, I've got micro switches if need be, but these are not debounced. So may have to check the board, see if the board has debouncing. Because they're only basic, 2 wires. A little bit of cable here too, red and black. Kind of PVC, stiff insulation. Alright, move you up. Can't really fit this that way, so I'll just show you. So that's interesting. These are 3D printed parts. So part of the kit here is actually 3D printed brackets of some sort. And these are stiff. If I can have something that prints even half this nice, this is beautiful. This does not flex whatsoever. Very stiff, very sharp edges. And this is 3D printed. I don't like the fact that this slot is so thin though. Oh, even so I can't flex it. I wonder if this is a reinforced type plastic or if it's just ABS or whatever. So there's the two there. Wow, that printed really nice. You can see there's kind of a separation line there. I don't know if you can tell between these two. Very interesting. This one didn't print nearly as nicely as this one. Cool. And then we have these are the collets that go over the lead screws. Only have a minute something left on the recording before the camera shuts off. So let's see if we can finish off these few last parts. So this looks like a connector for the LCD. We've got a printer cable, and we've got, these are the cables for the stepper motors, and they're labeled Y and X and Extruder. Okay, so that is that. I'm not sure if there's one more layer. Nope, that's it. All right, so let's see if we can take a little bit closer look at some of the pieces. And so this crazy mess of parts will be a 3D printer. So tune back in the next few videos to see me assemble this if you wish. If not, skip right over to the end and see it in action. Thanks for watching.